friends, right? They're amigos, right?
They're friends?
Yeah, they're amigos.
I don't know, we're amigos, but...
Wallah, wallah. Serious. Wallah, you know, wallah. Yeah, wallah, they're friends. You know what?
Why?
Because they are next door, man. What is the Latinos, man, they live next door, man. I come from all the way from Africa, man. Even the one who discovered the Columbus, you know, he was friend of mine. America means amigos.
What?
Amigos, man.
America means amigos?
Yeah.
How are you, Jim?
I mean, I like the Latinos, they feel home here. You know, you come here, you don't feel foreigners. They're like, you know,
that's not true.
well, seriously, man.
No, that's not
Have you
true.
been to Texas? Yeah,
No, I haven't.
two of them, right?
Well, that's because they built their own community. Kind of like Minnesota, where all Somalis are.
Yeah.
They built their own community.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm telling you, man, Allah is testing me, like, you know? You know, me as my expectation, and now I'll have a wife and kids. That's what I expected. You know, my father, 18, he married.
MashaAllah.
So me, I was like, when I get to 20 something, now you know how old I am? 43.
Oh, alhamdulillah.
Yeah. I'm getting young, right? I mean, I heard a famous proverb, right?
Oh, okay.
He says, time is not important unless you cheese.
Unless you what?
Cheese.
Cheese?
Yeah.
Unless you cheese?
You ready or I'm waiting for you?
You are cheese?
Yeah.
Like you eat cheese?
Yeah, the cheese, when you give it time, it gets better.
Oh, it ages and it's
Yeah.
Oh.
So time is not
Okay.
just
Usually people don't say cheese, but
what do they say?
No, continue.
Age is just a number.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know. How do
they cremate?
Yeah, they burn the body. That's the worst, man. You know why? Because you know you can feel it, you know. You're dead, but
so
you burn the whole, the body. Oh, I don't want to die. So my ego, you know, there's hadith, right? It says if you are a patient with the qadr of Allah, you will have good friends.
Sure.
So this is the qadr, right?
Really?
Yeah, because you know.
Where's the hadith?
Because I have an issue on your there. You know, somebody, you know, somebody probably I teach you, right?
Yeah. You teach me many.
Cough.
Cough?
Cough واحد
cough واحد
كوسية
ورقة
لكن واحد كل شيء
واحد كل شيء وريه You taught me that one.
Yeah, I taught you that.
Yeah, I wrote it down.
But I good memory.
Inshallah.
So
You're good now.
I'm like, you know,
This one, don't forget.
So you want to get married?
Okay, put that on. And I will
Yeah.
do.
small problem. The issue I'm having, it's like, it's a, how do you say, a delicate situation.
Okay.
Yeah?
I'm gonna start
Yeah, we're ready, man. We're expecting you, man.
You expecting me?
You know, you are our teacher.
Make dua for me.
Yeah. Follow the leader, man. That's my motto.
Follow the leader.
Yeah.
That's right.
I don't like him.
Bismillah.
My own theory. They make. They have rules. I don't know.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا بفضلك علما يا رب العالمين. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us beneficial knowledge, and may He subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us understanding that He subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take us from the darkness of ignorance and subhanahu wa ta'ala to enter us in the bliss of knowledge. Amen. So we're still in the book of prayer. So the couple of weeks we've covered about the integral parts of prayers, the hayat, the abad, and then last week we covered what? The things that are? The things that are makruh in the prayer, the things that are disliked within the prayer. So today, inshallah, we will talk about nawaqid, things, or mubtilat, right? Mubtilat as-salah, the things that are going to invalidate the prayer. The things that are going to mubtilat as-salah are going to invalidate the prayer. And we were talking, and there's something that I forgot from the previous classes about the times which prayers are prohibited. I forgot to cover that. So inshallah, we will incorporate that in today's class. Let's jump into the topic. What are some of the things that you guys think that is going to invalidate my prayer? Yes, sir.
Looking around
What does that mean, looking around?
like this.
Meaning turning away from the qibla.
Yes.
Yes, that's certainly true. Turning away from the qibla without a reason. Right? Because we spoke about the situation that which will necessitate me not to face the qibla. The exemption rule, right? If I am combating an enemy, right? When I'm praying nawafil on my riding animal, right? But in the obligatory prayer, without these exemptional reasons that we spoke about, just turning away from the qibla purposelessly is going to nullify my prayer, absolutely. Yes, sir. Speaking. Yes, there's some caveat things that needs to be spoken about that. Yes, absolutely. Speaking is going to invalidate my prayer at a face value. Let's take that.
Missed one of the pillars. You say the takbir, or when we go to ruku, or when you're coming out, you did one or two.
So if I miss a pillar, right? If I misplace a pillar or I miss a pillar, absolutely. Okay? You weren't supposed to say something?
I was going to say khushu.
Khushu? Maybe, I don't know, in the Hanbali school, khushu, maybe, but not here. Khushu is the objective of the prayer, but me not having khushu, does that mean my prayer is nullified or invalidated? Not, no. How many times do we, like, does that mean the entire salah khushu or a one moment khushu?
Like,
what does that mean?
Your intention is khushu. Like, even if you wander, you're like, yo.
Purpose is
You know?
khushu, yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people.
I don't think it's, man, not a lot of people. I think all of us prayer will be invalidated, because how many times do we have khushu in the prayer? Allah Ta'ala forgive us, man.
But we do our best.
We do our best, yes. But if you say it invalidates, it doesn't matter whether I try or not. Yes. Yeah. So one of the things is one lacks the necessary conditions of prayer. And we talked about the condition of the validity of prayer and the condition of the obligation of the prayer on the individual. Like for example, the condition of validity of prayer is something that he mentioned, facing the Qibla, having wudu, purification before, and all these things. If I don't have those conditions, right? Conditions. It's a condition. You can call it pre. Right? You can understand. Actually, it's a precondition.
Precondition. Those are the things that you have to have in order to make the wudu.
Yes.
In order to make the prayer.
The prayer.
But I think what you're asking is what breaks your prayer, what makes your prayer not valid, even if you pray. Am I correct?
Yes, but those are what we call condition. You call it precondition,
yeah.
But it's the same meaning I'm using for condition. Right? Conditions of the prayer. This is either somebody began without those conditions. For example, I started praying without wudu, or I began with the condition, but within the prayer, before I ended, I broke one of the conditions. Right? I'll just give an example. When somebody comes into contact with a najasa, inexcusable najasa, again, look at my word. Inexcusable najasa. Why do I use inexcusable najasa rather than just saying najasa? What do you guys think? Yes, sir.
Because maybe you don't know if it was najasa.
Maybe you don't know if it's najasa, but let's say we know it.
Inexcusable najasa.
What is the issue for me just saying najasa rather than saying inexcusable najasa?
Well, if the najasa is under the prayer mat, then you're cool. You're good. You're fine.
But this is, I came into contact with it, right? I came into contact with it.
Inexcusable najasa.
Is blood najasa or not?
It's a lot, I think so.
Is blood najasa? Just a blanket statement. In the Shafi'ī school is najasa. Where were you in the class? Blood is najasa. And actually to you, Hanafis will break your wudu. Yes, blood breaks. If you bleed more than a quarter, yeah, it breaks your wudu, right? But blood is najasa. Okay, what if I got a little bit of prick? Does that mean that now I came into did I come into contact with the najasa?
Yeah.
Absolutely, I got a prick, right? But is that going to break my wudu? Sorry, is that going to break my prayer? Absolutely not, because there's something called inexcusable najasa, ma'fuun an, and we mentioned this during the part of najasa, right? This najasa which is little that the Sharia is going to overlook it. And for you, if you want to do this, go back to the videos about najasa, and then will come back to the memory. But inexcusable najasa, something like that, right? For example, somebody praying next to me, right? Like for example, I told you in Ramadan, last Ramadan, there was a kid next to me and he peed, right? I am sure there's even a .000 something of that drop has touched me. The Sharia is going to overlook. It's not like a huge pool, right? So that's something that inexcusable. Okay, when one breaks wudu before the first salam, what is significant here? Can somebody explain if you are paying attention?
Because we only have to salam once in our prayer vow.
We only need the obligation,
Yeah.
the rukun of the prayer is the first salam is what is a rukun. The second is a sunnah. So the moment I gave the first salam and I'm out of the prayer, right?
Yeah.
So at that moment I can break. Once I say assalamu alaikum, so once I say assalamu alaikum, and let's say I pass gas at that moment, my prayer is valid. But before I did say that assalamu alaikum and you pass gas, your prayer is invalid because you didn't exit the prayer yet. When one's aura or part of thereof is uncovered, again, I did not say exposed, because it can be exposed for and then you can cover it. But it's been uncovered for a while. For example, I'm praying with a shot and we said the aura. We spoke about the aura of the women, and spoke about the aura of the men. And for the Shafi'is, knee is up to the knees included. So I was playing basketball, I prayed Maghrib, And when I say this, my aura was uncovered the entire time. So my prayer is what? Invalidated because of I did not meet the condition of the prayer, which is covering the aura. And then when an individual leaves Islam, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and keep iman within our hearts and within our progeny. Ameen.
Bigger problems.
Huh?
Yeah, bigger problems then.
Though yeah, that's a bigger problem than the rest of all of them can be fixed, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not test us with the last one. Ameen ya Rab. Number 2 is the things that is going to invalidate our prayer is when one intentionally interrupts a pillar. What do I mean that? Right? Interrupts a pillar. For example, Allahu Akbar, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim, Malik Yawmiddin. And then I go into ruku, right? After ruku, what do I do? Huh? What do I do after ruku? I straight up, right? So when I stand up, this is a part of the pillar, is a rukun. But let's say, for example, I went, instead of saying Sami Allahu liman hamida, I went Sami Allahu liman hamida, Allahu Akbar. What did I not do? I did not do a pillar, right? So I intentionally interrupted a pillar. For example, I did it by mistake. Is my prayer invalidated? No.
It's intentional,
If it's intentional, right? If it's intentional. If that happens by mistake, I didn't think of it, and that happens, I just have to redo that rak'ah. But now we're talking about, right, look, I know it, I'm lazy, man, it's, it's Isha, I want to go sleep, Allah Akbar. Right? It's out of laziness. So that happens what? That invalidates my prayer. Are we together? Yes.
What about sajda to sahu? Is that ever...
We're going to cover about sajda to sahu. One leaves off a pillar of the prayer. Any pillar. And the pillar can be a physical pillar. A pillar can be a physical pillar, or it can be it's non-physical, meaning that what? Like reciting the Fatiha, reciting the Tashahhud in the last rak'ah, right? And. All these are not actions, but I don't know, you can call it words or whatever it is. So those, even if you leave it, my prayer is invalidated. For example, I did not do a ruku. I did not do a sujood. I did not do the first taslim. And, yes.
So the first tashahhud, right, we don't have to do, correct?
No.
It's not.
Don't look at it like that. It's sunnah.
No,
Great.
Okay,
We don't have to do it.
What I mean is, the prayer is still valid.
If I don't do it.
Okay.
If I don't do it intentionally, my prayer is valid, but I'm sinful and accountable. Of course. I'm doing it again. Because that is what? That is a main, like, what did we call? The highly recommended, abad. Right? We call it highly recommended. The other one, like raising the hand, right? But the 4 that we mentioned, the highly recommended, leaving them intentionally, it's going to get you in trouble. But your prayer is valid. Any questions? We all together?
For pillars of prayer, is that arkan?
Arkan, yes. Rukun, arkan, I will use them as pillars or integral parts. Ab'ad is what we call highly recommended. Big ups to Ibrahim, brought that word. And then the other one is recommended. Hayat. One intentionally does a physical act ahead of its proper time. What does that mean? For example, again, this is not, we categorized. There's physical and there's non-physical. Non-physical pillars are like what? Give me an example. Tashahhud, Fatiha, right? These are non-physical things. But here I'm talking about one intentionally does a pillar ahead of the other. Okay?
The one that you said, instead of standing up straight, going straight down.
No, this is the opposite. I will explain this. But again, always the caveat is intentionally. Again, if somebody does them absent-mindedly or by mistake, doesn't include. But they need to do something to recompensate, which we'll cover inshallah in the future. But for example, Allahu Akbar, Fatiha, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim until the end. What am I supposed, and then I do another surah after Fatiha, which is Sunnah. What do I have to do after that? I have to go to ruku. But what I did is that I said Allahu Akbar intentionally. Allahu Akbar. What did I do? I skipped a pillar intentionally. Again, the caveat, intentionally. I skipped a pillar. Instead, after that, I am supposed to go into ruku. But what did I do? I went into sujood. Then my prayer is invalidated. But for example, when I came back, I said Allahu Akbar. Instead of reciting Fatiha, I go at-tahiyyatu al-mubarakatu. Right? I said Allahu Akbar. What am I supposed to do? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen until the end. But what I did is that Allahu Akbar, at-tahiyyatu al-mubarakatu. My prayer is not invalidated. And it's makruh. But there's something that I need to do later on. But that does not include here because this is a physical pillar. Yes, sir. You have a question?
But you're allowed to do it like when you listen to do like when you're asleep, you're allowed to do it if you're an ayat that has to do things on it.
I don't get your question.
Like an ayat?
Yeah.
You know, like an ayat that has like
Sujood, yes. But that one you're not doing you're not preceding a pillar. You're doing something necessitates. There's a sabab. I'm not doing it intentionally just because I want to do it. When the ayah, and we're going to cover about the hukum of sujatul of tilawa, the sujood of the tilawa. What is the ahkam of it? How do I do it? When do I do it? We're going to talk about all that. But that is not included in this. I see what you're saying. Yes. I see. That's a good question. He's saying that sometimes we go into sujood before going to ruku. Why? But because there's a sabab. There's something that causes me to do that. It's not just bidun sabab, okay? But now there's a caveat to it. But there's one non-physical, or we can call it verbal, rukun that is going to break my prayer. And that is salam. I can say Allahu Akbar, at-tahiyyatu al-mubarakatu instead of saying Fatiha. My prayer is not invalidated. But the moment I say Allahu Akbar, Assalamu alaikum, my prayer is invalidated. Why? What is the difference? Huh? Ahsanti, right? I've exited the prayer. That's the difference. And when I exited the prayer without like completing the prayer, what has happened to my prayer? I didn't pray. Right? My prayer is invalid. Are we together so far? Everyone is with me? Okay. One decides to terminate the prayer. Of course your prayers are going to be invalid. I am praying, right, rak'ah number 2, I'm praying on Maghrib, for example, rak'ah number 2, and I intend that, you know what, I don't want to pray. Oh, Allah forgive us, I don't want to pray. Alright? I exit the prayer, I say, okay, or I will pray later on. Or for example, a good scenario will be like, I'm praying, let's say I'm traveling, I prayed at a rest stop or something like that, and maybe there's a concert going around, and I'm not able to concentrate. I'm like, man, this too much, I'm not able to. I terminate my prayer. All right? So then my prayer is invalidated, I need to make up that prayer.
So the book says by doubting determination.
Huh?
The book says by doubting its termination, like ending it unknowingly, or?
So good, you brought something up. So all right. So I doubt that I made an intention. There's two faults into this. I doubt, I'm in the prayer. I doubt whether I made the intention or not. What happens?
You have to restart prayer.
I doubt whether I made the intention or not. Go ahead.
Okay, isn't it like when you're in the prayer, you can take whichever one? I guess like if you have doubts, you just continue on.
Because of the principle that says that doubt cannot remove insanity.
Exactly.
Al-yaqeen la yazul bishak. Okay? I see that. But now we have to have something called, okay, I weigh my doubt. I will weigh my doubt. So is my doubt more or my certainty more?
Which one's heavier?
Let's take it. My doubt is more. What happens? My prayer is invalid. But my certain is, I'm certain that I've made I'm supposed to go with my certainty. Right? Okay. Another thing is that, again, another doubt comes here. I put it here. Intending during the first rak'ah, I pray and I said, if such and such thing happen, I'll exit the prayer. For example, I pray, okay, if Miguel comes into this room, I'll exit the prayer. Right? I'm rak'ah number 4. Right? In ruku, Miguel comes in. Boom. My prayer is invalidated. That's another fault. Or when I entered the prayer, I will say, you know what? I'm only praying this prayer for 1 rak'ah. I intend, I'm only praying this prayer for 1 rak'ah, and maybe in rak'ah number 2 or number 3, I will exit this prayer. Then my exit is my prayer has been invalidated. Or I am praying, for example, Maghrib, and within I'm praying Maghrib, I'm like, I prayed the first rak'ah, good. The second rak'ah, I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like praying Maghrib. Let me pray Isha. At that moment, my prayer is why? My intention changed. Ahsanti, right? My intention changed. And when intention changed,
How about if you were like making up prayers, and then you're praying duha, right? But you're praying like, maybe this is from Shaitan, but it says, no, you're praying, because you know how like sometimes like in other madhabs, it's like they pray your first, the prayer of that time first, like you said, and then you pray duha. But now come to find out with the Shafi'ī method, it's like you have to go into session.
yes, yes.
So how about like sometimes like your brain just goes, oh, am I praying duha or asr? Like,
It's two things. Is that a waswasa thing,
yeah.
or is that a niyyah thing? Waswas, if it's waswas, it's waswas. You just, it's a'udhu billahi minash shaitan rajim and pray. But the intention is that I know, like, oh, they're making it that.
I have a question.
No, say it. I didn't want to talk, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, if you like think when you're like praying and you think about something other than salat, will it like invalidate your salat?
Repeat that again, my brother.
Well, I said if you when you're like praying and you think about something other than salat, will it invalidate your salat?
That's an excellent question, and he just asked about that. If we don't have khushu, if we don't have that utmost presence in the prayer, is that going to invalidate my salat? No. But what is the goal? The goal is to have khushu and to think of Allah. But does it happen that sometimes I don't think about Allah in prayer? It does happen, and may Allah Ta'ala forgive us for our shortcomings. You just bring back yourself to Allah. Let me see that part.
Because
Terrible copy, by the way. So some of the words are missing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I have explained. Yeah. Okay? And this is clear? Your question is answered, right?
Yeah, because shaitan is like making you think.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, and may Allah Ta'ala protect us from the shaitan, but your prayer is valid. I answered your question? Okay. Number 6, one lags behind or goes ahead of the imam intentionally. Okay, what does that mean? Lagging behind the imam means that I am behind the imam. But let's tackle first the going ahead of the imam. Going ahead of the imam will definitely invalidate my prayer. Because the imam is to be, mashallah, the imam is to be followed. So I have to follow him always. If I precede him, done, okay? Let's talk about lagging behind now. Up to how many pillars can I lag behind the imam? The Shafi'is, they say 2. Physical actions. What does that mean? Right? And this happens with excuse. I lag behind the imam without excuse. 2 or more, my prayer is what? Invalid. Let's take a step back. But I can lag behind the imam with an excuse. Great. I came Isha. I went to make wudu. I came late. The imam is doing what? Recited Fatiha, mashallah, good. Recited another surah, right? Lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Allahu Akbar. The imam is where? In ruku. Your boy is what? Your boy is coming. Allah. And the imam says what? Sami Allahu liman hamidah. Now I came, I said Allahu Akbar. How many is he in front of me now, the imam? He's in front of me 2 physical pillars. Don't count Fatiha. Physical. Because I said Allahu Akbar when he's in what? In the ruku. I'm trying to catch him. The moment I say Allahu Akbar, he did what? He said Allahu Akbar too and came up. So he's ahead of me with 2. Ruku and coming up straight. He's 2 ahead of me. So I can now catch up with him still, and that rak'ah counts for me. Because I'm lagging behind 2. The moment he says Allahu Akbar and goes into sujood, now he's ahead of me with how many? 3. I have to make, I can join him, but I have to make up what? That specific pillar. And that's why you see people, when the imam is said Sami Allahu liman hamidah and he already said Allahu Akbar, the individual is going to go and catch up. He's going to go to ruku, come back, maybe the imam is in the sujood. Go and catch up with him. Everyone got that? Everyone? Yes. You
I got it, yeah, but I think last thing you said, like if you missed the Fatiha, you still have to make up the...
No. We didn't say we missed the Fatiha. And we mentioned the reason why if I miss the Fatiha of the imam counts for me. We mentioned that of the hadith, right? The hadith that the Hanafis take, that the Fatiha of the imam is sufficient for the follower. Okay. Now as the Shafi'i, and I gave you a qaida, I gave you a principle. If you have 2 principles, 1, if the salah is valid according to the madhab of the leader or the imam, the prayer is valid for me. 1. 2, if something in another madhab is permissible and in my madhab it's not, فَقَلِّدْ مَنْ, you follow the one who says it's permissible. Because of those 2 principles, then Fatiha is a little bit different. But here we're talking about a physical pillar because of that. Yes, Habibi.
I don't know.
You didn't have a question? Okay. Everyone with me? Khalas. Yes.
So so the imam is in ruku, and then he stands up, and then you make it, and then you catch up.
Yeah. How about you come? Come.
And
You be the imam, okay? You be the imam.
okay.
Okay?
Wait. So I mean, okay, Allahu Akbar, Fatiha,
Yes.
and then Allahu Akbar, ruku.
Good. Allahu Akbar. Stop. How many is in front of me?
2.
2. It's 2. Ruku,
Sujood is two, right?
yeah, ruku, and now you stand up, that's two.
Oh, are you saying because you said it before he stood up?
That's what.
Yeah, that's why, but I did not catch him in ruku, right? You say,
So yes, well, Sami Allah.
Salim al-Muhammad, right?
Yeah.
But I caught my Allahu Akbar when you're in sujood.
When I'm ruku.
When you're in
So
ruku.
you come in, Allahu Akbar, and I'm.
Yes, so I'm lay here, Allahu Akbar.
You're
Oh,
here.
and then
Yes.
you came up, right?
Okay.
That's two.
But if you say you're Allahu Akbar when I'm standing up, your takbir, then
I can say it when you're standing up too, because it's still,
and you can still catch up.
yes. But that one is a little bit tricky. Will you count the first Allahu Akbar as a physical pillar or a non-physical pillar? Then now we have to sit and discuss. Right? The first takbirah, the Allahu Akbar, is it a physical or a non-physical? There's two madhabs there, so I don't know. Even within the schools. Even within the school, yeah. Huh? Yeah, all, right? So I think they will count that as a non-physical verbal, and Allah Ta'ala knows best. If I'm wrong, inshallah somebody can correct me.
So in either one, that rakat still counts.
Counts because you're two ahead of me.
Okay.
Right?
And if I do my takbir, when you're in ruku, the imam is in ruku.
Yes.
And even when he's still standing up before he goes into sujood.
If you think the first takbirah is a non-verbal, is a verbal, non-physical,
Okay.
then yeah.
Okay. Because I'm remembering Hanbali,
Yeah.
and in Hanbali you have to catch while you're on ruku.
In ruku. Then they count the first takbir as a verbal. Or I don't know how much you can lag behind the imam, even in Hanbali. But is this clear? Huh? Okay, man, today's class I'm having fun than the rest of the classes. At least I'm enjoying. One eats or drinks, this will invalidate the prayer, even if one forgets. MashaAllah, Starbucks or drinking water. Again, in the fard prayer. In the nawafil, we'll talk it outside, inshallah. In the fard prayer, or is unaware of such act, it doesn't matter. What is the difference between in Ramadan when I forget, I eat, is my fasting broken? No. It's not. Okay, good. But in prayer, why is it broken?
Because you shouldn't have a morsel of food in your mouth before you pray.
But I forgot. Allah.
Oh, okay. So there's two different things I was thinking. I was thinking.
Not the movement, because now it's not part of the structure of the prayer. I'm doing a totally, completely different thing. As for the first thing, right? The eating and abstaining is just an abstinence from it, right? It's not like an action that is involved. And we have the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah Ta'ala feeds us, right? But that's pretty simple, man. But the thing is, for example, sometimes, you know what, I went and ate, and right, there was a food stuck in the side. And again, gross, let's put that aside. Let's talk fiqh now. And mashallah, that for example, banana bread that I ate, mashallah, right? I'm still thinking about it even in Salah, Allah Ta'ala forgive me. And then for some reason you found one in that corner sitting. It's gross. I
You saved it for later.
right?
So, but if it's a certain size, you're allowed to swallow it, right?
Ya Allah, man. It's wallahi, it's A'udhu billah. Allah Ta'ala forgive us. Okay? But it's, you know, a little bit. And then my guy is like, okay, bring it back. He's in the second rak'ah. and he continue enjoying, mashallah, from the previous bread pudding. Is his salah invalidated?
What about gums?
No, right? Because it's what? Because it's a forgivable amount. But if there's, you know, a good chunk of it, like let's say one bite, and my brother's like, that was nice.
I think in the Hanafi school, it's like a morsel.
Yeah.
Chicken, yeah.
Yeah, morsel. That's, yep.
Yeah, what about gum though? Because I've seen someone chewing gum while they pray.
Gum is invalidated.
This is bigger?
What am I doing? I'm actively.
Oh yeah.
I'm eating at that moment I'm doing it intentional.
Yeah.
Okay? One adds an act to the prayer, right? An individual adds an act to the prayer. Let's talk about this act. This act can be of two kinds. It can be an act that is within the prayer, the structure. For example, I do maybe 2 ruku, or an act that is outside, something totally different. Okay? So let's start. That act can be an action of the prayer itself. Now I am adding something, such as an extra bow. So it's in the salah. How many in the normal salawat? Because in other salah, there's some salah that has two bowing, right? But now I'm talking about the 5 daily prayers. How many bowing does it have? Ruku? 1. But I did two, for example, 2 bowing. Meaning that Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Right? And I'm doing that again. The caveat is what? Intentionally. We all know the hukum. Great. Okay. But I did it absent-mindedly. Okay, I was Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Sallallahu liman hamida. Allahu Akbar. And that happens usually when we're either sleepy, tired, when I'm not really paying attention. I just want to pray, you know what? Just to check off the box, and I don't want to go on with my business, right? I'm not really paying attention. May Allah Ta'ala forgive us for our shortcomings. But if I do it absent-mindedly, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala forgives. I just have to redo that.
You don't get the reward for it?
What do you mean?
If you do it absent-mindedly?
Huh?
Like, you add another bracket, you go back down again, so I'll be
Yeah, you just do the sajda to sahwu,
yeah.
Right? But we have a prophetic example. The Prophet ﷺ prayed 5 rak'ah. The Prophet ﷺ prayed 5 rak'ah. And so when he finished the prayer, you see people, right? You see people like going back and forth, right? You see people like, wow, and that is a signal of there's something that was wrong. And the Prophet ﷺ is like, Ma sha'nukum? What's up with you guys? What's going on with that giggling and da. And so they said, right? The Prophet, the prayer been increased? The Prophet ﷺ said, no. So now they informed the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa that you have prayed 5 rak'ah. The Prophet ﷺ turned away and he performed 2 prostration of forgetfulness. Yes, prostration of forgetfulness, and he exited the prayer. So meaning that he didn't do it purposely. So where you get this ruling, it's backed up by a text. Now let's look at something outside the prayer. Something outside the prayer can what? Can be striking, can be slapping, can be walking, can be running. Okay? If I do it, if it's a minor act, then it remains valid. What do I mean? Even if I do it intentionally. For example, someone walking out, that is no part of the prayer. For example, I see a space open in the prayer. I go and fill up that space. I walked, right? But for example, that is minor. I walked from here up to there.
There's enough space,
Allahu Akbar. And they want to do, that is, the question now comes is that who defines this minor act? Who defines these actions? Like a major actions or minor actions? Who defines it for us? Or a grave act when it's mentioned. So like a grave act is like for me like walking that. That is not a minor act. It's a grave act. Something huge, something big. Who defines that for us?
Scholars.
Okay, scholars. What do you guys think?
Shafi'ī.
Huh? Shafi'ī? Okay. It's the convention. It's the ada. If somebody comes from the outside and looks at Uthman, right? When I'm doing this, would somebody think I'm praying? Yeah? Possibly I'm praying, right? But when somebody comes in and I'm doing this, will they think I'm praying? Right? So the convention of how we deal the circumstance, the convention is going to define this for us. And now, last week somebody asked, remember the 3 consecutive action? The 3 consecutive action applies here. This is where the 3 consecutive action the Shafi'i is talking about, this is where it applies. Not the minor thing, not the one I'm like, for example, I'm moving my eyes. Or I'm moving my lips. Right? Or I'm scratching myself. Or I removed this from here and put it back here. Those are not grave acts. So what the Shafi'is mean by the 3 consecutive acts is these 3 grave acts. For example, the guy is trying to pass away, I'm like, bah! That's a grave act. That's totally necessary. The kid is moving, I'm like, kick him. And again, I saw him, I kicked him, and then I saw another guy, I'm like, stop. And then I picked up something from the ground, I put it there. That's 3 grave acts that is going to invalidate my prayer. Intentional speech. Intentional speech, what does that mean? Intentional speech is going to invalidate my prayer. Allahu Akbar. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Miguel, stop that, man. What are you doing? Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin. Is my prayer validated? Yes. Why? So I spoke intentionally, and the intentional speech that somebody understands. Great. For example, now I speak of maybe a letter, 1-letter word. For example, we have a lingo between me and you. And that lingo is, if I say, for example, if I say winter, okay? If I say winter, maybe it signifies something. For example, if I say winter, it maybe signifies my phone is there, for example, right? I just say winter, in our language means my phone is there. So, Miguel comes into the room, right? He's like, oh, where's your phone? Where's your phone? And I'm praying. Qul huwa Allahu ahad. Winter. Winter. Because in the Shafi'i school, there's 2 qawl. 2 words or less does not, or 6 words, depending on which you take. Let's take the list. A word does not break your prayer. But this time I'm just saying 1 word, winter. But I'm saying it with an intention that it conveys a meaning to him and he understands it. That is going to break my prayer. That's what it means.
Because communicating with them.
Exactly, because I did a communication in my prayer. Or for example, I say qaf. Right? Qaf, for example, in our language, might mean, right, my computer is in the kitchen. You come in. Allahu Akbar. You come, what's the computer? Qaf. Even though qaf can be in the Quran. There's a verse in the Quran, qaf starts. But in my language and your language, qaf is a keyword that means my computer is in the kitchen. I don't know if you guys, this to me relates a lot. Like back home, the kids, there's a different street language that they want to make everything very short. Even in English we do that. LOL, right? And all these things, right? So this LOL, what does it mean? Nothing, yani, it's just like LOL as a word. If I go to my grandfather or our grandparents say LOL, they won't understand what is going on, right? Or I write LOL in my essay. The teacher's like, what are you talking about? But in our language, it means something. Right? For example, last time me and you were praying together, and then we saw somebody almost fall down in prayer. Right? Almost fall down in prayer. Oh, I almost wanted to laugh, but you know what? I would have said, LOL. For example, meaning that if LOL did not insinuate and did not give any meaning, I did not communicate, then my prayer is okay. But now it's an intentional speech that conveys meaning to somebody else. Right? My prayer is done. Okay?
If we would have laughed, we would have invalidated.
Oh, yeah, for sure. and to the Hanafis, you will have invalidated our wudu.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
If you smile on the Hanafi school, I think it breaks your...
All right? Okay, is this clear? But the question now comes now. I know a lot of you is ringing. Where does he take these 2 or 6 words? All right? Where do we take that? Oh, 2 words that have no meaning is okay. For example, Allahu Akbar. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Absent-mindedly, Malik Yawmiddin Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Stop that. Stop that. Absent-mindedly, that's 2 words. Okay, or let's take it. Because in the Shafi'i school it says 2 or less words if I speak unintentionally, it's okay. So in this case, I said stop that, naturally. For example, I was praying and my kid is running around. They were about to touch something. And I'm like, stop that. Natural reaction. Unintentionally. Will that break my prayer? No. Good. Or another opinion in the school says 6, and this is the opinion we follow. 6. And I will answer the question, where do you get the 6 from? Okay? Why not 7? Why not 8? Why not 5? Why 6? We'll come to that. Hold that thought. But I'll be like, Allahu Akbar. Get out of here. Get out of here. That's 4 words. Will that invalidate my prayer? No. Where does all this come from? Yeah.
Like you said, your kid was like bothering you, something like that, or trying to break something. Or
Yeah.
Obviously, get out of here. It's like to make sure you want to pray. That's.
Yeah, but for example, where do we get the 6 words? Why not? Why not 5?
Is it like the 2 mistake? Is that related to the 2 action mistakes?
No. Let's see if people can guess out.
In which language is the 6 words? Because
Any language.
you can say the same thing with fewer words in Arabic. Right?
Yeah, in any language. Yes.
So the book says 2 or more letters worth of sounds.
Yes. Again, we mentioned that before. There's that opinion.
Crying.
Huh?
It mentions crying or coughing.
Yes. If you cry or cough profusely, in that opinion of 2, for example, even if I'm crying for an ayah of the Quran, and yeah, but we don't take that opinion, right? We don't take that opinion in the school, but that opinion exists in the books.
So that's my version.
But but that's why when we study books, we study with the mashayikh, because there's knowledge that is transferred by books, and there's knowledge that is transferred by the mashayikh. That's why it's a requirement that we study books. For example, Matan Abu Shuja, it's just Matan like that. I can go and read, but will I understand and benefit? All right? And this was, man, when our Sheikh was explaining this, it was mashallah, it's amazing. How did he get 6? Look at this. Anyone guess where we get these 6 from? A hadith, for sure. 6 words, okay? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this hadith is called Hadith Dhul Yadayn. Once the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam offered 2 rak'ah and finished his prayer. Right? And then the Dhul Yadayn reached to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He told him, أَقُصِرَتِ الصَّلَاةِ أَمْ نَسِيتْ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. Was the prayer been reduced? What did the Prophet ﷺ do? He was praying a 4 rak'ah prayer. He only prayed 2. أَقُصِرَتِ الصَّلَاةِ أَمْ نَسِيتْ. It's 2 options. There's only 2 things. It's either the prayer has been now removed from 4 to 2, or the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he forgot. Okay? He forgot. Let's say that. Right? He's too busy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he forgot. For example, okay? Allah's Messenger said, has Dhul Yadayn spoken the truth? Asadaqa Dhul Yadayn? Now, for the people who now take the two opinion, Asadaqa Dhul Yadayn, Asadaqa Dhul Yadayn, 2 words. Asadaqa Dhul Yadayn, 2 words. Now you see where they take that from. So we said there's one opinion of 2 or less, but there's the opinion of 6. Where do these 6 take from? The hadith, this is in Muslim, Bukhari. The hadith in the Muwatta of Imam Malik, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Kullu dhalika lam yakun." Kullu dhalika lam yakun. Kullu dhalika lam yakun. 1, 2, 3, 4. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Kullu dhalika lam yakun 4." Right? Nothing like that happened. And then the Prophet ﷺ turned to the people, he said, Asadaqa Dhul Yadayn? 4 plus 2. Help me in math. 4 plus 2 is equals to 6. The people replied, affirmatively, yes, Ya Rasulullah. The Prophet ﷺ stood up and offered the remaining 2 rak'ah and performed taslim, then said Allahu Akbar to perform the sajda to sahwu.
Prophet ﷺ did not taslim after 2 rak'ahs, right?
He did.
He did.
He finished the prayer.
So he did test, and then
right?
He added 2 more afterwards.
He added 2 more afterwards. He did not pray fresh for
4. Yeah.
He just added 2 more.
So my question is, he obviously at the end of Salah, in the prayer, he says Assalamu alaikum. So how is he able to then go back into it when Assalamu alaikum is a specific character?
Just finishing the Salah, that's what I was going to ask you.
Right? Good. She got caught. Few minutes ago we said the only non-physical or verbal that breaks, invalidates the prayer is what? The taslim. But I'm saying the exact opposite here. Okay? There can be 2 understandings. One is the Prophet ﷺ forgot. Okay? And in that opinion, we will say, okay, you know what? That the salam, forgetfulness does not break your prayer. Meaning that there's one opinion that is going to get rid of the other one. And to be honest with you, there's no any other way to reconcile this text with the other opinion other than saying, okay, that opinion, the taslim does not break your prayer forgetfully. There's no way we can reconcile. Or either you say, okay, we will not take this hadith. If we don't take this hadith, we come into different issues now. What if somebody speaks in the prayer? Is that going to invalidate their prayer? Then we have to say yes.
Well, only in cases that it's intentional with language behind it, right? So
But even unintentionally.
because in this hadith, for example, he's asking a question, he's getting confirmation, and so his words have meaning.
Absolutely.
There's intention behind it.
Yes.
And an example, for example, maybe somebody has unintentionally did it, then wouldn't that still hold? Because it's like he's not creating any type of like language or meaning behind it.
So I didn't get the question. Unintentional, does it break my prayer? Is what you mean, or what you mean?
So unintentional wouldn't, right? Because
No, it wouldn't. Unintentional will not. So this is about intentional, right? But if no, step back. Unintentional will not break, but intentional will break.
yes, yeah.
Intentional will break. But this one, why did we infer unintentional? Because this is an exemption to the general rule. And when you take a juz'i, something apart, you have to place it in the whole. You have to place it in the kulli, so that to see how it fits and how we can reconcile. So I cannot, Assalamu alaikum. So meaning that if I speak unintentionally in the prayer, up to 6 words, then my prayer is valid. But if it's more than 6 words, my prayer isn't valid. Why? Okay, come back. What is the structure of the prayer? The structure of the prayer, does it include talking or not? We have the hadith that we mentioned, that the prayer is comprised of takbir, wa tahleel, wa tahmid. We have the hadith, remember, that we covered, that the prayer is involved of this, Allahu Akbar, Subhanallah, Sami Allahu liman hamdah, these things. Is me having a conversation, talking, part of the prayer? No. So, me talking, generally, me speaking and talking will break my salah. Okay. Is there an exception to this general rule? Yes. Where does that general rule can it be compromised for us to cater to for something strange? So we go to this hadith. We say now, talking generally will break your salah, but if you talk less than 6 words, your salah is not broken. Why? Because we have a text that insinuates that. That's how fiqh works. General rule, we have an exemption. How does this exemption fit in the general? Not the other way around. How does general fit in the exemption? It doesn't work like that. Right? How does the exemption fit in the general? If it fits, then we have to make a rule that only caters to that exemption. Got it? Hopefully it answers your question, because your questions are a little bit tough. Did it answer your question? You make me sweat, man. Take it easy. You know? But hopefully I dodged that. But you see how we get 6? But you see how you got 2? Muslim, Bukhari, Muwatta.
So, is the hadith rate like matter at all in this situation?
Hadith Sahih.
They're both Sahih?
Huh?
They're both Sahih?
Both authentic hadith.
So it's usuli discussion.
Yes, both authentic hadith.
And that's according to the Shafi'ī, you have 6 months.
Huh?
According to Shafi'ī, you have 6 months.
Yeah, because I don't know the school. And I've told you where the 6 come from.
Yeah.
We did a little bit of math, yes.
This may be a tangent, but so if it's in the Muwatta, do the Malikis take the latter opinion?
I don't know. I wish I knew. Yeah. The only madhab I have not studied officially is Malikis. So I'm the least person to speak about Maliki issues here. Okay, any questions? Today's class is fun. You guys agree?
Yeah.
I like it today. I'm a little bit, even the teaching style is a little bit different.
We need a little trigger, that's all.
You need a little trigger? I'll keep it there for you. Now, there's something that I forgot from previous classes that we're going to run, and you, mashallah, you all know this. Mashallah, it's just a formality that we have to cover a text. The times in which prayers are prohibited. 1, any prayer after Fajr is prohibited. Meaning I've prayed my Fajr, after that the prayer is haram. Okay, good. We have the hadith of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. Nice. After Asr, right? After Asr until sunset, if I pray, my prayer is invalidated. Good. Sorry, not my prayer is invalidated. It's haram to pray afterwards. After Fajr and after Asr.
After Asr, it's haram to pray.
Haram to pray. And after Fajr.
That's all mazhabs? Or
Again, with Shafi'i, I don't know the other madhab.
I know after Fajr, there's that 5-10 minutes when the sun is like coming out.
That one is different too.
It's in Hanafi, but after Asr, that's what I was asking.
Yep. And that hadith we have Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, there's no prayer after the morning prayer until the sunrise, and there's no prayer after the Asr prayer until the sunset. Clear hadith. Okay? Good. The hadith of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, this was just the translation. Yep. When the sun is rising, now that's where you, Hanafi, you just spoke about that. Great. All right? We have the hadith again. Good. We all agree. And then the other one we all know, when the sun is at its zenith. When the sun is at its zenith. At that zenith you cannot pray. Haram. Until it tilts to the west. And what time does that begin? Once it tilts. Dhuhr. Great. MashaAllah. Except on the day of Friday. Okay, and now practical for hadith sciences, the people come for hadith sciences. حدثنا محمد بن عيسى حدثنا حسين بن إبراهيم عن لؤيب عن مجاهد عن أبي خليل عن أبي قتادة أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. The Qatada, Abi Qatada is a tabi'i. It's not a sahaba, it's a tabi'i. And in Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What type of hadith is this called?
I forgot, we just learned it the other day. Something with an M.
Exactly, it starts with a name. I'll give you half a credit, mashallah, good. Huh? Allahu Akbar, nice. Sheikh Farhan, I'll tell Sheikh Farhan to give you a gift, man, mashallah, paying attention. This is called a mursal hadith. Right? Mursal hadith is either two. Hadith that is disconnected or hadith that a tabi'i narrates directly from the Prophet ﷺ. Usually how does it work? A tabi'i narrates from who? Huh? A sahabi, companion, and then the Prophet ﷺ. But in these instances he cuts it out. And Mujahid is older than Abi Khalil, but that's another issue, another discussion that Abu Dawud brings. This hadith in Abu Dawud. Right? So except Friday, this hadith is mursal. Remember when the Shaykh said that Shafi'i sometimes take mursal hadith, right? Of Sayyid ibn Musayyib, but even some tabi'is, we do take them. Okay?
On the ruling in Shafi'i, how does it, they do take, how does it?
Mursal? We take mursal depending on the tabi'i.
And then, Muhammad is mursal, and like when they do the ruling, how
No.
does Shafi'i for the ruling?
Quran, Sunnah, Ijma, Qiyas, yes, and then like that.
Okay.
And the rest of the ones. But that's a good thing to bring the application of the usul of the Shafis. I thought to bring that. At sunset, okay? The question now is, all these prayer times are prohibited. There's an exemption to it. We spoke about the general. These 5 times, the prayers are prohibited. After Fajr, after Asr, when the sun is at its zenith, when the sun is rising, when the sun is setting, good. General principle. Let's talk about exemptions. Now, for example, there is some salawat are attached by sabab, meaning that when I make wudu, I can pray 2 rak'ah of wudu, the salah of Bilal, right? I come into the masjid, I pray something. The sabab, I came into the masjid, I pray what? The prayer of greeting the mosque, great. There's an eclipse of the sun, I pray, prayer of the eclipse, good. But what if all these things happen after this time? Is it still prohibited, or can I pray? Exemption. I can pray. General rule, it is prohibited for me to pray after Asr. Okay, I came to the masjid. I have now a sabab. I have an excuse to pray the prayer of greeting the mosque. Even though after Asr, generally, it is prohibited. But the exemption is, now I have a prayer which has a sabab, is a cause, has a cause. Great. I need to make up, for example, I got up, I slept through Fajr, I woke up and the sun is rising. Can I pray Fajr at that time? Of course. Why? I am making up a prayer that I missed. Generally, it is haram. Exemption, I need to make up Fajr. I woke up late and I need to pray. Is my prayer valid? Yes. See how it works? Okay. But there's some prayers that does not require sabab. Meaning that this don't require sabab. I just want to come and pray. So those prayers are now not allowed in this time. Because the general rule, there's no exemption. I can wait other times. Get the difference? Huh? Got the difference? If you didn't understand, let me know.
Like you said, qaza prayers, right?
Qada, yes.
Yeah. So I know, like, I mean, again, the qaza prayers after that sun, like, you cannot, when the sun is rising, you cannot do any qaza prayers.
I don't know. No, for us. Not for Shafi'is.
Like, and then the same thing, when you cannot do the qaza prayers when the sun is actually going down. That 5 minutes. That like,
yes, you can in the Shafi'i.
You can in Shafi'i.
Because there's a sabab. Any questions? Salat al-Duh? Salat al-Duha is after the sun has risen.
Yeah, so does it have the exception or is it?
No, that has nothing to do with this. Until sunrise. Duha is... Salat? Yes. Great, wallahi. Allah bless you, man. MashaAllah. Salatul Istikhara. Can I pray Salatul Istikhara at this moment? The Shafi'i will say yes. That is something that I forgot. Even though now I have to recant my statement. I made a mistake. Salatul Istikhara. Salatul Tawbah. Huh? Yes, the prayer of need. Great. Those three. Specifically they mentioned. SubhanAllah. I read it about 20 minutes before I came here. MashaAllah. SubhanAllah. I forgot about it totally. So that is the prayer that has no cause that I can pray anytime. But I recant my statement. I made a mistake. And I apologize for that. Then, MashaAllah, thank you for bringing that up. Nice. Jazakallah khair. Nice catch. Good. Sometimes caution helps. Allah Ta'ala bless us, and may Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala bless all of you for coming. May Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala grant all your need. May Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala forgive us our shortcomings. May Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala elevate our families. May Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala grant us Jannah Firdaus al-A'la. May Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala keep iman within our hearts. We ask Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to grant us success in this world, success in the hereafter. And it's a pleasure always to see you all.
Could you repeat the mistake?